What's up, Cowboys Nation? Welcome back to another video. It's week 6 in the NFL. The Dallas Cowboys have their Monday night game. They're taking on the 2-2 Los Angeles Chargers. Let's jump on in.
Prescott, touchdown. Throw, look at middle, sacked again by Parsons again. CeeDee Lamb, was he down? They say no for now, and he's into the end zone.
Week 6 is finally here in the NFL, and can you believe it? This season, man, it's going way too fast, man. I can't believe we're already in week 6. The Dallas Cowboys are 3-2, coming off a stomping. Good God, it is still surprising. Look, I knew we were going to lose, but I just didn't think we were going to lose that way. I mean, we got humiliated. Anyways, we all know Sunday Night Football, right? 49ers blew them out. So they're 3-2, and then you got the Chargers coming off of a bye week. So they're well rested. They're going to have Austin Eckler, and they're at 500 at 2-2. So big game for both teams. Cowboys have this game right before their bye week, so you're either going to be 4-2 or you're going to be sitting at 500 and a 3-3 record. And so big game here, Monday Night Football. Joe Buck and Troy Aikman on the call, and the Cowboys are on the road again. And you guys know me, I always got to be talking about the road. But before I do, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more Cowboys content. And shout out to each and every one of you for checking out my post-game reaction video to the Cowboys and 49ers. We hit 10K, baby. And I like to think it's because of my analysis and you guys really like listening to me. But I know it's a lot of fans wanting to see the Cowboys suffer and reacting to a bad loss like that. But anyways, thank you. I appreciate it. And for y'all who watched last week's pregame prediction video, I appreciate it. But here we go. Let's jump on in. Monday Night Football, like I said, Cowboys are on the road again. On the road again. Just cannot wait to get on. We don't want to be on the road again because the Cowboys are 1-2. And you guys have heard me say this time and time again. I'm like a father telling a son who will not listen to him over and over again. I'm telling them, you got to win on the road, man. If you want to be an actual contender, if you want to be a great football team, you got to win on the road. It's easy to do it at home. But if you can translate that success that you have at home, which currently the Cowboys are undefeated at home, you can, take that next step and win on the road no matter who you're playing, wherever you're playing. Cowboys won in New York, but they dropped games against Arizona and San Francisco. And this one's on the road again. This is, however, an AT&T West, which is what we like to nickname it, SoFi Stadium. Cowboy fans love to show up there. So definitely Cowboy fans will be representing. They did last time. But let's jump on into the fun facts like we always do. This will be the 13th game played between these two teams, and 12 games previously. The Dallas Cowboys have an overall 7-5 record against the Chargers all time. So hoping to make that 8-5. And the last time that they played, it was a heck of a game. Came down to a final kick from Greg Zuerlein. Cowboys ended up winning that game 20-17. Big defensive plays made by our defense that really kept our team in it. You name it. Micah Parsons interception. Micah Parsons sack. There was an interception. I want to say it was Jaron Kearse in the red zone. Just a really good defensive game, young into Dan Quinn's era, that won that game. And we were able to pull that off and win 2017 for the first win of our season. So like I said, on the road, we're 1-2 in the primetime slot. Like this game will be on Monday night. We're 1-1, so we're splitting that. But let's go to take a look at the Los Angeles Chargers schedule. So currently they're on a 2-game winning streak. They started off pretty bad, 0-2, lost some pretty close games. They could have won against Miami. They lost in overtime to the Tennessee Titans. So dare I say this team is underrated? Abso-freaking-lutely. This team is underrated, and they should be taken seriously. I know we want to poke fun at the Bear and Kellen Moore being the offensive coordinator previously, but this team is underrated. And they are explosive. They can put up points, and they have one of the better quarterbacks in the league. So you can make the argument that they could they be 4-0? Possibly, in another multiverse, possibly. If they beat the Titans, they're at least 3-1. And that game against the Dolphins was pretty close. And knowing what the Dolphins are now, the fact that the Chargers kept up with them, They look good. And a lot of people had picked the Chargers to be one of the top teams in the NFL before the season began. In fact, I thought Justin Herbert was going to excel in the system that Kellen Moore brings on over. We'll get on Kellen Moore here in a little bit, and you guys know how I feel about that. But I felt like it would have transitioned really well, and it kind of has if we look at the stats of Justin Herbert, which we will. But just wanted to jump into that. Chargers are coming off a bye week. Any injuries that they had, some of them are well rested, especially Austin Eckler, who is a really good dual attack for the Chargers. They can run the ball with them. They can pass the ball with him. And the Cowboys, as you know, coming off the loss against the 49ers and going into their bye week. But let's go ahead and jump on into the video. Let's go ahead and talk about this defense. Cowboys defense versus this Chargers offense. If we take a look at some of the statistics here, our offense is 16th overall. Their offense is 19th overall. So, and this is in terms of yards, but it's always a helpful way to look at both teams and study the stats and look at some sort of comparison. Both are very similar, in my opinion. I think both teams are very similar offensively in terms of talent. If we're talking about offensive line, I would give the edge to the Cowboys. I like our offensive line, especially with the 5 starters that we have now, which I'm hoping that's the case going into Monday night, which I think it will be. I mean, I haven't heard of anything crazy happening throughout the week. But their wide receiver core, obviously Mike Williams is out with an injury. He's out for the rest of the season. But they got Keenan Allen, who is Mr. Route Runner. Oh my gosh, he can get open, and no doubt he will get open in this game. Last game that we played 2 seasons ago, I know it was 2 seasons ago, but Keenan Allen had over 100 yards, and Stephon Gilmore is going to be on him. If we had Diggs, I would feel differently, but I mean, they're going to make our secondary work. And that's definitely a big matchup because you got a pass-heavy offense with the Chargers. And our secondary, look, I know Deron Bland had 2 picks the other week against New England Patriots. But come on, it was Mac Jones throwing the ball, man. And we just were not effective in any way when we were playing Brock Purdy. Now, granted, it comes down to scheme, yes, and talent comes into that. But, man, our secondary looked foolish in week 5. I mean, our safeties didn't play. We talk a lot about our safeties. We talk a lot about our cornerbacks and our secondary and our depth, and none of it showed up. So we can definitely get exploited in this game. Don't think that just because we lost and, we've never lost back-to-back games, that this game isn't losable. It is absolutely losable. I mean, this is a really good opponent. And if you look at the schedule so far, the Cowboys have taken care of the bad teams, minus the outlier that is the Arizona Cardinals. But anytime they have faced a team that is good, and the Chargers are there, they're 2-2 at 500. I mean, they're good. They haven't played up to that competition. And on top of that, they haven't played well on the road either. So there's a lot of factors and there's a lot of variables that are going against the Cowboys here. And I know a lot of people, you're going to hear this all week, but a lot of people are saying, well, the Cowboys have never lost back-to-back games. They're going to be angry. They're going to be mad. They're going to, they're going to be out going to Los Angeles wanting to get that win. Pump the brakes, as much as I'd love to see that, it's a tough matchup. And so if we keep looking at the stats here, we're 6th in defense, they're 13th in defense. Do not underestimate their defense, and we'll get into that a little bit with their players. We're 18th in passing, they're 13th in passing. We're 9th in rushing and 20th in rushing, and they're 20th in rushing, which I'm actually really surprised that we're 9th in rushing, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But this is the Kellen Moore game, right? Everyone's talking about this. Kellen Moore was the backup quarterback, played as a starting quarterback in a few games for the Dallas Cowboys, then got promoted to a quarterback's coach, then got promoted to the offensive coordinator. You just got to look at my past videos if you want to know how I feel about that. But we finally cut ties with Kellen Moore in the offseason, and he immediately signed with the Los Angeles Chargers. He was one of the most high-scoring, productive offenses, produced one of the highest efficient offenses in the league. And I mean, he wasn't going to be outside of a job for too long. His biggest thing was always situational football. And that's a whole nother topic because with Mike McCarthy and his offense, and we might get into it when we talk about the offense, but that's Kellen Moore, right? And now he has the opportunity here to have his revenge game, and it does matter. Don't let anyone else tell you that it doesn't, because it actually does. These players, they're so close with their coaches. And I no doubt these players have it in the back of their head that they want to get this win for Kellen Moore. And I'm talking about the Chargers. I'm talking about the Chargers offense. I'm talking about Justin Herbert. I'm talking about Austin Eckler. I'm talking about Quentin Johnson. I'm talking about Keenan Allen. They want to get this win for their offensive coordinator. So they will be playing with the little edge on their shoulder, little chip on their shoulder. You best believe that. But like I said, Keenan Allen, Quentin Johnson, the rookie from TCU, Austin Eckler, he's back after his injury, after having the bye week to heal. But I would expect a big game. And this is where you can really exploit the Cowboys defense, because it's happened in both those losses. I would expect a big game from their tight end, Gerald Everett, and their run game, because Austin Eckler is back, and Austin Eckler can really push to the outside, and that we've seen that be a weakness in the two losses that the Cowboys have suffered against the Cardinals and the 49ers. And here's the other thing too, the Cowboys are lacking at the linebacker depth, and let me break this down for you the way that I see it. And I know Kellen Moore probably wants to pass the ball because he can against the secondary. But if Kellen Moore steps out of his Kellen Moore-esque play calling and runs the ball come Monday night, I think he can be pretty successful. Because with our defense, if you look at the stats, we ranked one of the highest defenses in the league, and don't let that mislead you. This is not a good stat coming. We rank one of the highest in the NFL in terms of runners getting to the second and third level. So what does that mean? It means the running back can get past the defensive line, and then the linebackers or the safeties are the ones responsible for getting the tackle and making contact. So the Cowboys are one of the highest teams in the league where that running back gets past the defensive line and the linebacker or the safety has to make that tackle. That is a big no-no. However, the Cowboys actually did pretty well maintaining Christian McCaffrey. That was one of the small positives that came out of that 49ers game. So they actually did a really good job holding down a good running back like that. But Leighton Vander Esch out with the neck injury. And for some reason, our team, our manager, our GM got rid of most of our linebackers. I'm still trying to make sense of it, but I'm talking about Jabril Cox, Devin Harper. They were waived. They were released. And so now we're looking at a smaller linebacker room with Marquise Bell. And it just, I don't like our linebacker room right now going into this game. And we did sign someone, or we're planning to sign someone. We're planning to sign that former first-round linebacker, Evans, from the Atlanta Falcons. I don't know if he's going to be ready for the game. I doubt it, because as I make this video, it's Wednesday, and there's just so much you have to learn as a linebacker, especially in Dan Quinn's system. I don't like our linebacker room. It was iffy with Leighton Vander Esch, and it's even more suspect now without Leighton Vander Esch. So if I'm Kellen Moore, I'm exploiting that. I'm exploiting that matchup all day long with play actions, with attacks at a tight end. And Kellen Moore loves his tight ends. We know that. I mean, he got the ball to Dalton Schultz quite a bit when he was with the Cowboys. And Dalton Schultz was an effective weapon. So I could see Herbert hitting Everett and finding that matchup all day long. And you can pick on our safeties. Jaron Kearse needs to have a better game, and if he does, he can stop that pass. But if he doesn't, George Kittle is, their tight ends for the Chargers is going to have another George Kittle day for 3 touchdowns. So that's definitely a place where you can exploit this defense. But let's go ahead and talk about Justin Herbert under this new system. I feel like we're not talking about him enough. Maybe it's just because of the bye week. But if you take a look at some of the stats here, Justin Herbert, 7 touchdowns, 1 interception, over 1,100 yards. Highly efficient already, have an incredible season. And off the top of my head, I don't know if Dak Prescott had that kind of start to a regular season. 7 touchdowns, 1 interception. It's hard to believe that the Chargers are 1-1 with quarterback. It's hard to believe that the Chargers are 2-2 with quarterback play like that. But Herbert's been having a great season. He's a good quarterback. He's one of the best in the league. This is a huge challenge. And anytime this defense, the Cowboys defense, has faced a quality quarterback, It's been a long day. and, I'm not talking about Joshua Dobbs, but, when we played Brock Purdy and now we're playing Justin Herbert. So that's going to be tough. And to be honest, I don't like this matchup with the offense and the defense. I don't like it. I got to be unbiased and realistic like I always am. I don't like how our defense matches up against their offense. I think Herbert, like I said, is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He can pick apart this defense. And if you want a quick comparison to how I feel, and you can go watch my pregame prediction video from last season, but the way I feel about this game is how I felt about the Cowboys and Jaguars last season. I told y'all that the Jaguars can put up some points and pass against this secondary. And in the first half, it didn't look like that, but then it slowly turned into that. And maybe the Cowboys can come out here physical, feisty, and emotional from the loss that they had against San Francisco. But this offense can have its way, and Kellen Moore knows this defense. He spent some time in practice and training camps weekly against this defense, so there's some sort of familiarity that he has. On the flip side, obviously DQ has that familiarity with Kellen Moore's offense, but Kellen Moore, granted, whatever we have to say about him negatively, he did have more creativity in sense of his play design and his way of working around the ball. But that's how I feel about this defense going up against this offense on Monday night. It's going to be a fight. We got to be better. We got to improve. And we probably have to be better than what our roster says right now on that defense. So here we go. Defensive predictions. I just got 2 of them. Here we go. I think Micah Parsons has a great game. I think he gets to Herbert twice. I think Micah Parsons is going to be moving around a lot. DQ knows that with the absence of Leighton Vander Esch. And we're going to see maybe some Sam Williams in this game as well. And just mixture on that defensive line, which I really want to see. But Micah Parsons will be flying around, and I believe he gets 2 sacks on the quarterback. Last but not least, I think we get an interception. I think Herbert and their ability to throw the ball a lot of the times throughout the game. I like our players. I think they're ball hawks, and I think this secondary is going to struggle, but I do believe we make a play and we get 1 interception on Herbert on Monday Night Football. So here we go. Let's jump into the offense. Cowboys offense versus Chargers defense. If you take a look at the stats again, we are 16th in offense. They're 13th in defense. We're 18th in passing, and we're 9th in rushing. First off, we got to give credit where credit is due. The Chargers have some players on their defense. I'm talking about Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack. Man, I know that's a name we haven't heard in a long time. He's not as predominant as he was in his days with the Bears or the Raiders. But Khalil Mack, man, he's coming off a 6-sack game. This man had 6 sacks. He still got it. He can still get after the quarterback. Granted, that was the Las Vegas Raiders. He's going up against a much better, experienced offensive line with the Cowboys right now. But I just got to give credit where credit is due. Derwin James is on this team as well, this defense. I mean, he's a ball hawk. This is a good defense. They haven't been playing up to their potential earlier in the season. But, I mean, that's the beautiful thing about the NFL season. You could get off to a slow start, and there's 17, 18 weeks of football where you could get better as a team. But the Cowboys simply got to be better, man. I know they're lacking identity, but at least one of the things that we know that they don't do and if they don't do this, they win games. And they did a lot of it on Sunday night. They turned the ball over, 4 turnovers, Tony Pollard fumble, Dak threw 3 interceptions. Just can't turn over the ball. Can't turn over the ball, and I like our chances as an offense against this defense to not turn the ball over. I feel like if we turn the ball over offensively, it's something that we did wrong. It was because you didn't protect the ball. It's because you forced the pass. I don't necessarily believe, based on what I've seen from the Chargers defense, that they can do anything schematically like the San Francisco 49ers did that's going to force us to make a bad play or force a turnover. It's going to be on us to have that turnover, to throw that bad pass or not cover the football. But let's take a look at Dak Prescott, man. I low-key thought he was having a pretty good like a low-key MVP season. Like if he got, a 1 or 2 games where he threw 3 or 4 touchdowns, he could jump up. But right now, man, it's not looking good after that 49ers game. 5 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 65.1 QBR. It's not looking too good. And you can maybe blame the system, but he simply has to be better. And it starts with him not turning the ball over. If you don't see something that you don't like, throw it away, man. Don't force anything. Let's live another down. Give it back to our defense, because the defense is the best thing about this team. But here we go. For the Cowboys' best chance, I don't necessarily believe we have to force the ball to CD or Cooks or anything like that. We got to get back to basics. I mean, Coach Mike said it himself. He says he wants to run the ball. He said that in the offseason. And where is that? I mean, as far as I've known for the past decade, this has been Cowboys football. The identity of this offense has been running the football. So if I pull this up, you tell me what you see with Tony Pollard. He's only had one 100-yard game, and that was in a loss against the Arizona Cardinals. Look at the rest of these stats. Where is the identity of this football team? Is it just quick passes now? I mean, we got to control time of possession. I know we're moving the ball outside of the 49ers game. We were moving the ball pretty well, but we need to control that line, and Tony Pollard needs to be effective, and he needs to be predominant in this game plan if we want to win. That's the biggest thing I want to see on Monday night. Is I want to see TP20 have a big day and have a good run, because we got all 5 starting offensive linemen. We can make that happen. We got to make that happen. Nothing about play design, nothing about getting Cooks. Focus on running the ball. I promise you it will open things up. This is basic football 101. If you can run the football, it will open so many other things for you. It's really that simple. It's not a crazy analysis. It's simple. Cowboys got to get back to the good football that they're known for. They need to establish their identity back with all 5 offensive linemen back. This is the game to do it. So here we go. Here's my offensive predictions. I'm going to say this again. I know I've been wrong in the past couple of weeks, but I believe if they can just get this man involved. I mean, you traded for him, right? There's so much noise around this trade, and you waited and you dipped your hand in the jar last season and you didn't do it, but then you did it this time. Just get Brandon Cooks involved. Just do it. And I think maybe me saying that out loud again will happen, because remember the New England Patriots pregame prediction video? I mentioned Hunter Lipke. Guess what? He got in the end zone. So let me say it, man. The solution to the problem, the answer to the question, get Brandon Cooks involved. It is criminal. It is awful how he only has 73 yards on the season. Get him the ball. Get him the ball. The plays that you were drawing up for Turpin, and Turpin is injured, and please be back, and, best to you, heal up. Design those plays for Cooks. Get him across the field. Get him open. He's got the speed. He can beat anyone down the field. Get Cooks involved. I think he gets a touchdown. And then I think Tony Pollard has a big day. I'm a big believer in that. I think he has 2 touchdowns on Monday Night Football. And then I think it's going to be a big day for Dak Prescott. I really do. I think they're going to let him rip. I think he's going to rip that football. I think he's going to be throwing it a lot. And I think this is a really good game that we see from Dak Prescott. I think he throws over 250 yards, and I think he gets 2 touchdowns. But last but not least, I played this pretty neutral. I gave some kudos to the Chargers defense. I gave some optimistic views of this Cowboys offense. So where do we stand? Game prediction. Where do I believe the Cowboys stand Monday Night Football, Week 6, against this, in my opinion, very underrated and solid, talented team that is the Los Angeles Chargers? Well, let me mention something. I think this Cowboys team lacks mental strength and mental fortitude. I also think they lack veteran leadership. I think that's why we saw them play so poorly that they did against the Cardinals. I think that Trayvon Diggs injury was more impactful than maybe we all thought or were led to believe, and rightfully so. But I just don't think there's a guy in that locker room that is giving that veteran leadership. And Dak is a natural leader, but I think it's hard when you're trying to lead, but sometimes your play and your actions don't follow that up. And I'm talking about the 49ers game. I think the 49ers loss was a big punch to the gut, not just for the fan base, but to the players. I mean, you saw as soon as they know they weren't competitive or were in it, we saw this team quit. Now, I'm not saying that this season's over. I'm just saying I think it's going to bleed into this game. And that's unfortunate, but I think that's what's going to happen. And I just don't think they have that mental fortitude right now. And I don't know if they have the veteran leadership. I mean, they're putting it all on Micah. They're putting it all on Dak. These coaches definitely have to be accountable too, but at some point it's on the players. I think this loss from the 49ers bleeds over a little bit. I think their minds are not exactly in the right space. I think they want to come back and be angry, but I don't think they know how to harness that just yet. I know this is like a psychoanalysis, but it's just what I'm seeing with this team. Not saying that the season's over. I don't think it's over. I think this is still a really good team, but these are growing pains. And I'm expecting growing pains on this Monday night game. My game prediction. Cowboys, they're 1-2 on the road. And they got blown out by the 49ers. But we never got to see them resolve the red zone offense. I'm not really a huge fan of this matchup. And I think the Chargers are a solid, underrated team, like I said. So, I would not be surprised if the Chargers come out of this Monday Night Football game with the win. And the Cowboys would drop to 3-3. It would not surprise me. I'm not saying the season's over. I'm just saying that 49ers game mentally might linger more than it should. But going into the bye week, I think is perfect timing. And if you can go in the bye week 3-3, great, come back. It's a new season. I'm not believing in this team. And I think maybe a lot of fans may relate to that too. After seeing the 49ers game, is like, how can we believe this team to bounce back and beat a pretty solid team that's the Chargers? So, yeah, I'm choosing the Chargers to win this game. And if the Cowboys win, great. That's awesome. Sure. But I got the Cowboys losing this game to the Chargers on Monday night. I'm choosing the Chargers 31-27. But I'll also say this. I think the Cowboys are in a unique position, kind of in a lose-lose situation. And it's something that's very unique that I honestly haven't seen in a while. I don't think I've never seen this, to be honest. It's like if they win, that doesn't win the fan base over. And I don't think any of us are going to be cheering if they win. We're going to be happy that they won. But if they blow out the Chargers, we're just going to regress to the fact that, yeah, you did that to the Giants and you did that to the Jets and the Patriots, but you lost to the Cardinals and the 49ers. But even if they win by a field goal, we're still going to be like, really? You won by a field goal? And then if you lose, obviously all hell breaks loose. I just think the Cowboys are in a very unique lose-lose situation, and I think it's going to be a while before they can win our trust, win our belief back. And I'm just not believing it this week. Call it a hangover from this 49ers game, but I mean, hey, they can prove me wrong. I really don't care. But if they lose, I don't think it's the end of the season. It's a long season, and they can bounce back. And I think this bye week, most important of all, is very timely. I think the bye week is coming at a perfect time, and this team needs it. They need it. They need it to get everything back together. But other than that, that's it for the pregame prediction video. I appreciate you guys for hanging out, listening to this. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more Cowboys content. I will see you guys after the game, Monday night. Go Cowboys.
Prescott, touchdown.